Welcome back to the channel, you guys. This is your girl, Wicked Raider, coming at you actually with a little bit of progression. I am just too excited. I have been stuck on my pay-to-play account for some time in Doom Tower. And so I've been getting requests and a couple of messages. We've kind of talked about this back and forth in the clan, as well as the teams that are being used, especially when you're starting out with Doom Tower and not necessarily comfortable or able to make the progression that you want. What happens when I don't have a team of legendaries? What happens when I'm doing good on the stages, but I'm making it into the bosses, and for some reason I am just absolutely stuck. Now, there's one area for me, which is Dark Fae, that we will have to do an entire video because I'm going to have you guys help me rebuild a team just specifically for that level. But when for this particular Doom Tower, and I'll go back, this is for Frost Spider. And so I'm normally able to make some pretty good progression. And for the last couple of days, we're going to ignore the secret room too. We'll come back to that one. I have been absolutely stuck right here. Guys, I made it to the Nether Spider, and it seemed as though no matter what I was doing, I just was completely unable to push myself beyond this particular boss. And so when it came to Agrath, floor number 60, I'm looking at Envenom Strands. So we're coming with a lot of poison. This particular boss is, of course, attack based. Broodfest was hitting me with the spiderlings and the counterattack. And I knew that the biggest goal was either to have a team that was nearly unkillable or to figure out a way to control the spiderlings overall and to keep them from attacking. Where I was falling short is I was getting to probably the last 30-40% of energy remaining for the boss, and my team just could not make it. Now, the passives for this boss are the big ones. If you look at Elder Lurker, counterattacks whenever an enemy decreases Agra's turn meter. So turn meter control can be tricky with this particular champion. And the amount of damage that is given out is based on the enemy's max HP. So the damage is inflicted is equal to the amount of turn meter lost and will ignore 100% defense. This is the other thing that became pretty tough. When you came to Tide of Toxins, attack all enemies at the start of each turn, deals damage from all poison debuffs on each enemy instantly. And when I say between Agrath and the Spiderlings, the number of poison debuffs can be pretty immense. I mean that all the way through. Almighty Immunity is one I've gotten used to the deeper that we're going in. So immune to stun, freeze, sleep, provoke, block active skills, block passive skills, fear, true fear, and petrification. Guys, on this one, when I saw this, my first thought was, well, that kind of takes out Rhonda. My second thought was all of the champions that I have placed in gear for stun, freeze, sleep, or provoke, or that naturally have these skills in their kit. It became a limitation there as well. Almighty Strength, damage from skills that scale based on enemies' max HP, cannot exceed 10% of the boss's max HP when attacking the boss. And then Almighty Persistence, all turn meter reduction effects are decreased by 50%. So not only would your first thought be to definitely keep that turn meter manipulation going, but your efforts are still happening in the end. And so they go down and they provide you with a breakdown. And I mean, I have filtered through teams with Deliana. I use Ultimate Death Knights. I even went so far as to put Shaman on the team. Madame Saris would help, but it wasn't a big enough help. I did notice that a lot of teams, when you go to best teams, use Focrin the Fat. Now, here, my particular teammate does really good with Rhonda. I have not 6-starred my Rhonda. So that was my first thought. I did include Deliana, and I ran a first team that included Rhonda, Deliana, and Ultimate Death Knight. I had Focrin, and that was about it. it was for some reason I just could not. And so the number of turns that she took compared to my team, you guys can see there's a huge difference. But the other thing you'll notice, my team power is sitting right at 118,000. And that's the other thing I wanted to work on, especially when I'm taking a look at the opposite team and she's sitting at 168. All of her champions are 6-star. So the difference in power was a huge one. I know the weakness for me is how my champions are geared. I know that that's one of the things I've really got to sit down and rearrange. But let's take a deeper look at the champion I actually ended up using. Now, it took 7 minutes. I was not going into this thinking about time. It was all about accomplishment. Hands down, accomplishment, guys. So keep that in mind. I also did 123 turns. So I started with Roskar the Tower. This guy is amazing. The shield that he puts out to avoid, additional damage was immensely helpful for this team. I was becoming so frustrated because I couldn't keep Dur the Hungerer alive long enough. I needed her to be able to go one more turn in order for my team to truly make it. And for those of you who have been with me for some time, you know how I feel about this particular champion. Are there champions that do revival better? I'm pretty sure. I just have not come across them in my particular account. I did have Seal the Drake, so I wanted to have that support. In case Dur went down or anyone else on the team, I had a backup reviver, and this is where things got a lot better. The other thing I noticed is because I was dealing with poison, I couldn't decide if this would be a great moment to take my Kale to 6-star and use his abilities, or if I could use my boy Ornn. And what I figured out is Ornn was just what I needed in order to handle not only the spiderlings, but Agrath herself. Last but not least, I came in with my girl. And this is a champion. Kalia is a champion, guys, that I've taken a look at before, I believe, on this channel. And if I haven't done a deep dive on her, it is certainly coming down the pipeline. She is a champion that, for me, the biggest thing that has always helped is the HP burn. I was pretty far into this account before I ever got my first champion with the ability for HP burn, or even a champion, to be honest, that had the bombing system involved. And so I knew when I pulled her that this was definitely a champion that I will hold on to. I wanted to build because there would be other ways this champion could be used. And when you look at the gear, guys, I mean, these are, I basically use standard gear. There's nothing special here. Speed, crit rate, we bumped up attack a little bit. And as you can see, there are so many areas where, yes, I can absolutely improve. Crit damage is one. I would love to get a resistance up. Attack power can be increased. But this is working from the original 6-star gear, 5-star gear that I had. Now, one thing I did enjoy is it shows you that, yes, you can tackle Doom Tower with standard gear. Guys, if you are waiting until you are able to farm dungeons at level 20, if you are waiting until you're able to, win a tournament to get special gear, or you're saving up to buy the special pack, I want you to know it may take a little bit longer. So you're going to put that battle on and walk away from it, but it's definitely possible. And this is the team that I use to do it. Now, as we're moving down, even as we go in and we start looking at champions, the time wasn't the problem because it's long, but the number of turns improved. Same team, pretty much. I added Deliana on this one, but the same effect is about there, even as I move further down. So the champions that I've been using, and here's the time. Now let me show you. 11 minutes, 45 seconds here, right? But I came in here and accomplished this in 46 turns. So where you're going to hit the issues with, especially for my beginners that are just starting to climb, once you make it past the first 4 or 5 floors, I remember first starting out, guys, the first 3 floors, I'm like, oh my gosh, how do people make it to level 100? How do you make it to the 100th floor? Like, how is that possible? I was stuck here for so long. But remember, we've said it before. This is when you learn to start rearranging your teams, and you also start depending on other champions that you may not be using in other areas of the game. And that's definitely what proved to be true. The same goes for secret rooms. Secret rooms push you to keep those rare champions. Secret rooms also push you to remind yourself of how good some of those champions can actually be. The difference in turns here on the floor is 30. Turns with the first boss, 29. Now I can beat this particular boss in 1 minute. There were times when I couldn't pass this boss the first couple of times that I actually attempted Doom Tower. So it does get better. As of right now, I'm excited because even after passing this particular stage, where it took 7 minutes with 123 turns, I came right after that on the 61st floor, 83 turns. 63rd floor, 57 turns. So it's not that your team's 63 turns. It's not that your teams aren't able to make it through, but that boss is definitely going to be a challenging moment for you. Now, this particular secret room I have not tried. And boom, here's going to be why. This is one area for this account, Skinwalkers, I don't have. So, and I think actually out of all of my accounts, only probably one or two of them have I pulled a Skinwalker champion that I've actually taken the time to build. And so this is another area where I really want to get better, because if I'm unable to do this secret room, pretty sure Skinwalker is also an area I don't think I have any champions for, even when it comes to faction wars. So, and you can see here, you go in, once upon a time I had somebody, now there's no one. So I know moving forward, as I pull champions that fall under this faction, I'll hold on to them and start really trying to build a team just for these two particular areas. Guys, I know Doom Tower is one that sometimes you will avoid or you kind of push away. You put into the corner for a little bit, but it can certainly be worth it. You want to go in and have that opportunity to work with your champions and work with other champions that may not necessarily be your 100% favorites, but that are available to you as well. So let me know, how is Doom Tower going for you? I know there are quite a few of you guys that are probably on Doom Tower hard at this point. I'm still trying to conquer normal. This is the highest that I've been so far. And as you go up, to get here is going to be awesome. I know, like, secret room wise, it's going to get pretty interesting. So to be able to, kind of run into these champions and see what's going on and being able to farm this area has been really nice. This is where you start coming into contact with those materials that you need, not only for the forge, you can farm for gems, you are farming for all those other things that you're going to need along your journey. So let me know, how is Doom Tower going for you? Who is your favorite team that you're using so far? And how has it changed the way you think about gear on your champions? If you haven't subscribed, we still have a couple of slots. So 22WK would love to have you guys. CBC, of course, is coming up. We still have 6 slots available. So if you want to join, if you're staying active, we'd love to have you. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that one for me. If there is a champion god that I have not done that you would like to see, certainly let me know. I have a few of those in the works, and I will be releasing those coming up pretty soon. And as always, happy gaming.